and action. So, today, well, it's today for me. I know it's also today for you, but you're probably seeing this video uh, way later versus my last video, which I just finished filming like 20 seconds ago. So, I have the upper hand. Anyhow, I think I should be naming these series something like cheating or not on your wife or girlfriend or whatever, but in general in sports. So here's the topic of addressing for today. It's TRT. For those of you who don't know what TRT is, it stands for testosterone replacement therapy, and TRT as a whole is actually a subset of HRT, which is hormone or hormonal replacement therapy. So there's a whole bunch of practices aimed at replacing a bunch of hormones or replacing the or compensating for the lack of those hormones, and testosterone is one isolated or specific case out of the bigger picture, which is HRT. So TRT, but HRT in general, we will address today. What's the big issue with it? Well, there's no big issue with it, but there are a lot of issues, a lot of small issues lying in the details. And here's the thing. So, like I always preface my videos about topics like these. As a disclaimer, it's not meant to, belittle or look down on anyone's achievement or blame anyone if they're doing this. It's just for educational purposes, in order for you to actually know what these things are in case you don't, and also if you do, to look at some specific details that make all of the difference when we're getting into more advanced discussions about whether this is legal or moral or whatever, especially in sports such as arm wrestling, but not only fighting, bodybuilding, whatever, basketball, football, you name it. So, thing is, usually the official narrative is that I'm no longer a spring chicken and I'm going to the doctor, and somehow the doctor is reaching the conclusion that I no longer have the optimal levels of testosterone due to my age, or even for my age I have a lower level than the average one considered for this age group. So your friendly neighborhood spider doctor is giving you the warm recommendation to hop on this magnificent thing called TRT, which will rejuvenate you and make you feel younger, help you restore some of the things that are currently not being restored anymore. You will feel better, you'll have energy, you'll recover fast and faster. It'll make you feel like you're 5 years younger, 10 years younger, or even more. So nothing wrong with that, right? Here's where the cookie starts to crumble. First of all, the idea of going to the doctor and having a serious problem, and the doctor somehow working his or her way down into your whatever affliction you have, somehow realizes that your testosterone level might be a problem, or it just accidentally comes off as a bad result in a set of analysis which was meant initially for a completely different purpose. That's okay, but first of all, people nowadays, because they know that this is kind of like a a very easily attainable thing, they kind of already go to the doctor knowing that no matter what the level will show, it will probably be low enough so that they can get a prescription. And let's not even talk about corruption, bribery, or whatever. So they pretty much go to the doctor looking to get a TRT prescription and hopping on the whole TRT train. So it's no longer the case of like this elderly individual walking in and into the doctor's office and being prescribed TRT in order to improve his daily life and his sex drive and stuff like that. It's for explicit competitive results, which is already like a very voluntary initiative in order for you to gain or regain back some of the leverage that testosterone can give. And believe you me, it can give a shit ton of leverage, more than what people think. But we'll go into that later, or probably even in another video, or actually I already did so in other past videos. So the idea is that people already go there with this intention, and that's already kind of like where the waters begin to be murky. Next level is where, let's say, the doctor says, well, let's try to get you back in the 5 to 6 or 700 range, and let's say you're on a 300 level based on your test, and your doctor is like, well, let's supplement so that you go back to normal. And instead of doing that, you go actually way above. You're going past 1,000 or 2,000 or even a lot more. That's already, again, you give someone one finger, he takes your whole hand. Kind of like the same thing. You're using this as an excuse, obviously, which is where I'm getting to where I'm headed to with this discussion. So that's already even murkier waters. Now, as far as the morality of it goes, even if you're saying, well, no, actually I will stay at the level that I should. So in other words, if I'm a 200 or 300 based on my results, and my doctor suggests I should just go back to 6 or 7, I'll just take around 400 and nothing more. And I won't go like I'll just stay into the human level. I won't go superhuman. Why is this still not okay? And I touched upon this subject in one of my earliest videos on PEDs, where I said that when people discuss about genetics and they say, well, I have these great genetics, look how I'm responding to drugs, whether it is I can be a world-class champion by taking and abusing PEDs, or look at these, well, not world-class but still amazing results by just taking this much. The problem there is that you cannot say you have great genetics in terms of receptors responding to the drug, but completely looking aside the fact that genetically somehow something happened so that your physiological levels something happened and your physiological levels given by your genetics, because you have great genetics, are no longer able to compensate. Fuck forbid you would ever admit that you're actually with a low testosterone level because of the vicious cycle of, first of all, going on exogenous testosterone to begin with, which naturally makes your endogenous secretion go low. let's say it just you never did that, and you're naturally having a decrease in your endogenous levels based on age and stuff like that, and stress and whatever. Again, you can no longer say that you have great genetics to respond to things that unfortunately appear to go down because, well, Father Time has its say in the whole situation. So you actually want to fight against nature, and you are trying to reverse a natural process occurring in your body. But after you're doing the whole thing and you're turning back the clock, now you're saying, well, I'm, it's just a natural thing. Testosterone is natural, just like I said in a lot of my videos. Everything is natural. Protein, amino acids, peptides, SARMs, growth hormone, insulin, everything is natural, right? Because it's, to begin with, in the first place, it's being secreted in your body, so it doesn't matter where it comes from, it's still natural, because it's a naturally occurring compound, right? So back to our discussion, testosterone is natural, so just because I'm reversing the hand of time doesn't mean I'm doing anything wrong, right? I'm just keeping myself from aging that fast. Well, no, because that's the thing. There's a reason, just like there's a reason for weight categories and age categories and stuff like that. There's a reason, I just said it, age categories. There's a reason why you have age categories. There's a reason why a 15-year-old is at a disadvantage versus a 25-year-old. And there's there's a reason why naturally, if you let things develop naturally, there's a reason why a 45-year-old would be at a disadvantage versus a 25-year-old. That's why the seniors are always like the peak in any sports category, and a senior can not go compete into the juniors division, the youth division, and also the senior cannot go compete in the masters division. There's a reason why there's a masters division, right, and a youth division. Vice versa, if you feel you're up to it, you can. You feel like you're a hunk of a 16-year-old, go up to the men's division. You feel like you still haven't had your last breath and there's still some juice running through your vein, natural one, whatever. You're allowed to go compete in the men's division, but that's where the problem appears to have serious consequences, because now, first of all, you're able to compete in places where normally it would be a lot harder for you to compete, and also the biggest problem is that for you as a masters competitor, you are now competing against people who, some of them, are just naturally embracing their age without naturally embracing their age, like I just said, right? So you're a 50-year-old competing against another 50-year-old, but because of your natural unwinding of the clock, because what's wrong with preserving your youth for a bit longer? Your biochemistry is probably that of a 40-year-old, not a 50-year-old. Sorry. So you can see how that thing is, hopefully makes sense to you, why that thing is wrong in a sense, in a big sense. And so again, this is not to blame anyone, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with trying to preserve your youth. Fuck it, if there would be substances that we could all take for everything so that we could live forever, probably all of us would do so. until you'd probably get bored. But still, I don't think anyone would miss on the opportunity to at least try this for quite a few decades, if not centuries. The problem is when you're going up against people that are not doing this, and you're going into professional sports, and not only are you able to maintain your position for much longer than you should have, you can be reigning champion for a lot longer than you should have been, but sometimes, especially if you're not having a lot of wear and tear, because probably you started a bit later into the sport, there's a lot of people who are actually still making linear progress as they get older. So you have people who, for example, start in their late 30s or early 40s or whatever, and at 50, at 55, they're still on an upwards trajectory compared to how they were at 30 something, 40 something. They would smash their own version from 10, 15 years ago, which normally should not happen. Biologically, naturally, it should not happen. So again, this is just to get like the discussion and the ball going. This is not to blame anyone or belittle anyone's results, because as we all know, it's not like there's one or two guys that are cheating and everyone else is suffering because of this. Unfortunately, we fortunately kind of have everyone on the same playing field, so they kind of all do it. So although it's, let's say, morally, you can argue that everyone is doing the same immoral thing, therefore, in terms of hurting people who are not doing this, it's very unlikely to have such a scenario. But still, there are a lot of guys, not to contradict myself with what I just said, there are still guys who are not doing this, but probably, I'm not saying anything, but probably a lot of them are. Probably the majority are. I'm not sure. Honestly, I don't care. I still don't think that this should matter to you or to me or to anyone else who are either bystanders, or even if you're a professional competitor, you're educated, you know about this. I'm telling you about this just in case you don't know, which I doubt. There's a lot of, thousands, hundreds, millions of people who are discussing this on a daily basis. So it's not like you're uninformed. Well, I was just going there and I had no idea I'd get myself smashed, and I was getting myself smashed for 25 fucking years without knowing why. And now I'm watching these videos on YouTube by people who are saying that these things are a reality, and now, fuck it, like brain explosion. Now all of a sudden everything makes sense because I'm looking back retrospectively and now I'm connecting the dots. That won't happen. I guess everyone in the sport is fully aware of this. So if you choose to compete and to still compete despite having these odds against you, bravo, in my most sincere appreciation. Don't get discouraged. Imagine the sweet taste of victory you can have, and you probably have experienced it when you are managing to defeat people who are on these PDs and whatever. Again, not that it should be us against them, or people fighting and arguing about this in an antagonistic way or stuff like that. It's merely to kind of have like an open discussion, debate, call it whatever. Quite honestly, just to hear myself talking, because I always have all of these ideas and things that are running in my head like a monologue. So with the channel being here, why not just sharing it with you guys? Why just keep them for myself to hear my voice in silence? Yeah, you know what I'm saying. So apart from the fact that I'm saying I believe in KK, Uh, yeah, just goofing around at this point. Let me know what you guys think about this ordeal of a topic. For some people, for me, it's actually very fun and interesting to discuss. If you are a user, if you are an abuser, not just a user, please feel free to leave a comment, a response. We can even do like hours long of video conference for our channels or whatever. I really want to discuss about things like these in the utmost civilized way and friendly way and stuff like that. So I'm just I've always been interested in these topics from a very early age, ever since I started practicing all sorts of sports, and I always had a vested interest in biology and stuff like that. So, and in chemistry, physics, all sorts of sciences, math, whatever. So yeah, it was always like a natural curiosity for me, and I always try to expand my horizons with these things. I advise you to do the same. Keep yourselves educated, and don't fall into the trap of thinking, well, I'm not ever going to use PEDs, therefore I don't need to know about them. On the contrary, you need to be probably even more informed about all of the things like substances, classes of substances, how they work, how they function, side effects, all of these things like interdictions, lists from anti-doping agencies and stuff like that. You'll say why? Well, because it's in your interest to know how you, as a natural person, if you choose to be natural, can somehow work against them. And also, just because you're natural, without being, natural, true natural, does it hurt to know how testosterone works, how insulin works, why insulin in conjunction with growth hormone has some sort of side effects versus, some sort of effects and also side effects as opposed to other compounds, and in general, what's the process of metabolizing all of these substances, and whether it's simple things like protein or amino acids or creatine or peptides, SARMs. Again, I won't go through the whole list. You know what's up. So it's never a reason for you not to be informed, even with like drugs, recreational drugs and stuff like that. Just because you're not doing drugs doesn't mean you should be oblivious and uneducated, because that's how you can at least keep yourself protected from these things that are happening, their reality, and you can also keep the ones around you protected, especially if like you're a parent and stuff like that. You want to know things about weed and cocaine and stuff like that, just in case somehow your kid might exhibit some strange behavior or whatever, or his friends might you should spot these things from a mile away, so that they don't become a reality knocking on your door, and also hopefully not stepping foot in your house, if you know what I'm saying. So anyway, I'll be ending my rant here. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Like I said, feel free to like, dislike, subscribe, hate, troll, whatever. Like I said before, if you dislike, make sure you're doing your best to make me aware how much, just how much you just how much you dislike it. So hit the dislike button twice in order to have effect. So without further ado, I'll try to close this video and not miss the stop record button. So till next time, Cuckoo Guy is out, hopefully.